Smart 24, driving business. No data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial *292#. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed.
Welcome back from that short break. And welcome back to the financial markets. With me, Nampija Gloria Christine, together with
Victor Chiberu.
And now we're bringing you insights on the performance of our stock market as of yesterday. And we're starting with the Uganda Securities Exchange. We'd love to see how the market went down as of yesterday. Victor, what do you have for us?
That is right, Gloria. It is essential to keep our viewers informed about the latest market movements and jumping right into yesterday's session, we had a total of 437,575 shares traded within the Uganda Securities Exchange, leaving the market value at 177,728,010.00.
Those are actually impressive figures. I mean, what stands out compared with the last time is trading? What stands out this time round?
Well, Gloria, the most notable observation is the significant improvement in volume with a whooping 447% increase.
447%?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we are of course comparing this to Tuesday, October 3rd, and it is quite a surge in trading activity.
Absolutely, Victor. So what's our current market capitalization? Where do we stand?
Well, the current market capitalization still stands at 16.1 trillion Ugandan shillings. And of course, as usual, it is still showing us an insight in the overall market value. Okay,
thank you for that context, Victor. And diving into the securities that traded as of yesterday, we have 2 US-listed equities that participated in trading. But here's the breakdown. We had 4 gainers and 4 losers, while we had Jubilee Holdings, the leader gainers, with 0.77% share price appreciation, and closing at 4,722.45 per share Ugandan shillings, and followed by KCB Group, Equity Bank, and East African Brewers that also saw some gains.
Well, obviously, going on to the flip side, we had Nation Media Group that also saw a decline in their performance. They underwent a price depreciation of 0.04%, and they closed at a share price of 504.40 per share. We also had Centum Investment and Kenya Airways, as well as Umeme, and these also had slight declines within their share prices.
And when it comes to the mixed performance among these individual stocks and the most actively traded stocks, we had Umeme and MTN Uganda that were the most active, with trading volumes of around 423,000 and 14,000 shares respectively. So these two certainly dominated yesterday's trading activity.
Well, thank you so much for highlighting the top performers in terms of volume. Now talking about the market indices, how do they fare?
Well, concerning the market indices, the benchmark of the Uganda Securities Exchange All Share Index, they showed some positive movement. climbing up by 2.79%, which is 0.3 share price appreciation points to close at 928.54. So this actually represents a 1-week loss of 1.59%, a 4-week loss of 2.75%, but it's worth noting that the year-to-date loss stands at 23.42%. So the U.S. local company index remained relatively stable actually, and maintaining its value at 278.47 points.
So obviously, despite all the challenges, we are still seeing an uptick in the all share index.
Exactly.
But we'll continue to keep a close eye on the Uganda Securities Exchange as well, and we shall keep notifying you of any changes, any slight differences, and anything that you need to keep your attention on to.
Exactly. Now, allow me to take you to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, or the NSE, and we'll have to see how this market also went down yesterday.
Certainly going to the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Yesterday's trading session on the exchange, we saw very interesting movements, and we saw a total of 7,471,600 shares being traded, leaving us with a market value of 45,356,768,000 Kenyan shillings. But how does this compare to the previous trading day?
It's quite a shift, Victor, and looking at yesterday's data, we see a 51% decline in volume and an 80% decline in turnover and an 8% decline in deals compared to Tuesday. So that's quite a significant drop in the trading activity on the NSE.
Yes, indeed, Gloria. And it is crucial for our viewers to understand these fluctuations within the market activity. Now, let's talk about the current market capitalization in Nairobi Securities Exchange.
In the Nairobi Securities Exchange, actually, it's around 1.5 trillion. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm quite sure this figure as well gives us an idea of the overall exchange value. And of course, moving on to the listed equities, the Nairobi Securities Exchange has 48 listed equities, and of course they all participated within the trading. The results were mixed. We saw 16 gainers as well as 22 losers.
Exactly. We had Sanlam Kenya that led the gainers with actually 10% improvement in share price appreciation, closing at around 7.70 Kenyan shillings per share. And then Williamson T Kenya and Nairobi Securities Exchange, also the East African bureaus. These also saw some gains.
Well, it is always great to see some positive movements. But what about the decliners, Gloria?
The decliners, on the flip side, we had Longhorn publishers that had a really challenging day. And coming out last at the end of the day with a price depreciation of around 5.49% and with 2.24 Kenyan shillings per share. So we had Uchumi Supermarket, we had East African Cables, and we also had Nairobi Business Ventures. These also had declines in their share prices.
Well, obviously, in terms of value, we have Kenya Reinsurance Corporation, which took the lead with 4.06 million traded shares. We had CIC Insurance Group, we had Safaricom, we had Kenya Power and Lighting Company, where they also saw quite active trading volumes with hundreds of thousands exchanged.
Interesting, Victor. So thank you for highlighting our top performers of the volume. And could we talk about the market indices?
Well, of course, the benchmark of the Nairobi Securities Exchange is the Nairobi All Share Index, and it inched up by 0.04. That is percentage points, and it closed at 95.43. However, it is of course essential to note that this represents a 1-week loss of 0.37%, 4-week loss of 2.6%, as well as an overall year-to-date loss of 25.14%.
Interesting. That's all we had from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We'll be coming back with more and more news concerning any shift in the trading. So could we move to the Johannesburg Securities Exchange, Victor?
Certainly. Of course, it was an eventful day for this one in particular. And jumping right into it, the trading session saw of 228,200,448 shares traded in 332,413 deals, with a market value of 15,775,093,017.14 rands. How does this compare according to yesterday's performance?
Well, it's not important that there was actually a 7% decline in trading volume compared with Tuesday. And however, we did see a 3% improvement when it comes to turnover and a 4% improvement in the number of deals. So the current market capitalization on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange currently stands at 17 trillion rands.
Well, thank you so much for that update. Delving into the individual equities, we had a total of 308 listed equities participating in trading. Among them, we saw 113 gainers and 169 losers. And of course, it is always fascinating to see which companies made notable moves. For instance, we had the RECM and Calibre, which led the gainers with an impressive 24.88% share price appreciation, closing at 9.99 per share rands. Of course, we had Astoria Investments, we had Collins Property, and SAPI also experienced gains.
Those are actually impressive gains. But when we look at the flip side, we had Southern Palladium with a challenging day. Actually, they came out last with an end of day price depreciation of around 9.5% and 6.10 per share. And we have Cogniton Holdings and African Rainbow Minerals that also saw declines when it comes to their share price.
Well, thank you so much for highlighting that, Gloria. It is crucial for investors to stay updated on individual stock exchanges and their stock performances. Well, thank you for breaking down these movements. But now, which stocks were the most actively traded today? Well,
in the trading volume, we had Feast Run that took the lead with 15.6 million traded shares. Then we have Growth Point Properties. We have Redefined Properties and Old Mutual, which were quite active actually, and with trading volumes in millions.
Well, moving straight to the indices, of course, the benchmark of the Johannesburg Securities Exchange is the FTSE Johannesburg Securities Exchange All Share Index, or the J203. It shared 208.52, giving us a percentage of negative 0.29%, points to close at 70,564.69 rands. However, it is as well important to note that this represents a one-week loss of 2.23%, four-week loss of 5.93%, and an overall year-to-date loss of 3.4%. So it has been a really challenging period for this index.
Those are actually significant losses, Victor. And when it comes to the other indexes, what caught your attention?
Well, absolutely. There is the FTSE Johannesburg Securities Exchange Large Cap Index. This one in particular had a 0.23% decline, reflecting a 1.8 loss over the past week, and a 2.6% year-to-date loss, of course. Then we had the FTSE Johannesburg Securities Exchange Top 40 Index that saw a 0.26% decline with a 2.4% loss in the last week and a 3.1% year-to-date loss. The FTSE Johannesburg Securities Exchange Fledgling Index, on the other hand, had a 0.39% decline, but slightly up by 0.32% over the past week, though it is still down by 8.96% year to date.
Well, there are some fluctuations concerning these various indices, in the overall trend seems to be a challenging one. Thank you for providing that insightful information, Victor.
Certainly, certainly.
Exactly. We'll be going for a short break and we'll be coming back with more information concerning the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and the Lusaka Stock Exchange. Thank you.
No data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial 292 hash. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed. Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292 hash. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest. Smart 24, driving business. No data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial *292 hash. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed.
Welcome back from that short break, and allow me to give you the market recap concerning the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I'm Victor, together with Victor here, and today we are going to give you some information concerning the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And Victor.
Moving straight to the Nigeria Stock Exchange. Of course, this is as well a comprehensive interview a comprehensive overview for those that are new to this stock exchange in particular, because people, as you've noticed, don't really pay much attention to it. They only focus on the oil part of it. But it was quite an exciting day for this stock exchange, and we've got all the details you need to stay informed. Diving right into it, formerly known as the Nigeria Stock Exchange, it is a critical market, and it is a critical market and as well an infrastructural market within East Africa, within Africa, sorry. And it plays a vital role, of course, in the region.
Exactly, and the Nigerian Stocks Exchange actually provides companies with access to capital through the financial markets, helping them fund their business expansion, and also offers a wide range of regulated securities to domestic, regional, and international investors to achieve their investment goals. So let's not forget the significant transformation in March 2021, and when the Nigerian Stock Exchange transitioned from a member-owned non-profit entity to a share-owned, actually, so profit-making entity known as the Nigerian Exchange Group.
Well, that is indeed a notable transition. Now, shifting our focus to the market indices, the Nigeria Stock Exchange publishes several indices, including the All-Share Index, which is known as the NGX 30, and the NGX 50. Well, the All-Share Index, which tracks the general market movement of all listed equities, and it closed at 66,482.88 naira. It showed us a 0.3% decline, and of course that was for yesterday. So it is essential to note that while there was a daily loss, the year-to-date gain stands at an impressive 29.72%.
That's absolutely right, Victor. And the market indices are essential indicators for the market performance and sentiment. And speaking of sentiment, let's talk about the top gainers and the top losers on the Nigerian Securities Exchange. We had Owando leading the gainers with a remarkable 9.88% share price increase, closing at 9.45 Nigerian Naira per share. And we had Red Star Express, we had also Triple G and Co, and we also had RT Briscoe that also saw significant gains.
Those are, of course, yes, Gloria, those of course are impressive gainers. But as any other market, there were also stocks that faced declines. We had Wema Bank. It had a challenging day with a 10% price drop, and closing at 4.23 Naira per share. We had Ikeja Hotel and Associated Bus Company. We had Royal Exchange, which were among other stocks that faced declines.
Exactly, and investors really need to stay informed about these individual stock movements and performances. So now let's talk about the most traded stocks as of yesterday. We had Universal Insurance Company that actually recorded the highest volume of 336 million traded shares. And we were followed by Fidelity Bank with 31.7 million, Consolidated and Insurance with 25.1 million, and Guaranteed Trust Holdings with 24.6 million.
High trading volumes often indicate increased investor interest and liquidity in these stocks. Thank you for breaking down these figures, Gloria. But now let's discuss the categories of listings within this stock exchange.
Exactly. We have around like 3 categories. We have the premium board, the main board, and the alternative securities market. The premium board is reserved for companies that meet stringent corporate government and capitalization and liquidity criteria. So the main board features larger companies admitted to the browse based on profitability or the market capitalization. So under alternative securities market is dedicated to smaller, high-growth emerging businesses.
It is indeed crucial for investors to understand the different categories and the requirements for listing. Now let's take a look at some of the listed companies on the Nigeria Stock Exchange today. We've got quite a diverse mix here. We have companies spanning various sectors, from banking and insurance to manufacturing and telecommunication companies. Well, some familiar names include the FBN Holdings PLC. We have MTN Nigeria, and we have Dangote Cement. We have Nestle Nigeria, and it is a testament to diversity of the investment opportunities available on the Nigeria Stock Exchange.
Exactly, and the diversity of this strengthens the Nigerian Stock Exchange too. This provides investors with a wide range of choices. And thank you for shedding light on this though. And now let's discuss the trading activity.
Well, certainly, at the end of today's trading session, or shall I say yesterday's trading session on the Nigeria Stock Exchange, we saw a total of 557,515,274 shares traded in 6,646 deals, with a market value of 4,597,419,892.25 billion naira. Compared to the previous stock trading day, this represents an 80% improvement in the volume and a 19% improvement in turnover. But as well, we won't ignore the 12% decline in the number of deals. The current market capitalization still stands at a staggering 36.4 trillion Nigerian naira. I feel like this is a really impressive movement, especially with the 80% improvement.
Exactly.
And I feel like there's a lot of hope for the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Exactly, and these are actually significant figures, and it's fascinating to see how the market can evolve from day to day. And now, as we wrap up our discussion concerning the Nigerian Stock Exchange, we'd love to take a moment to look at their indices.
Well, the Nigeria Stock Exchange top 50 index showed a slight gain of 0.18% yesterday, with a year-to-date gain of 43.77%. And of course, the Nigeria top 30 index faced a 0.41% decline. But today, it still boasts an impressive year-to-date gain of 32.76%. And we also want to talk about other indices such as the Nigeria Stock Exchange Insurance Index and the Nigeria Stock Exchange Consumer Goods Index. And of course, these also displayed really positive improvements.
Exactly. Thank you for shedding light on that. I hope our viewers there who are interested in the Nigerian Stock Exchange have got all the information required. And as usual, please trade wisely. Allow me to go into the Lusaka Securities Exchange, and we'll see how it went down concerning that market yesterday. And we'll have to discuss the exciting world in the Lusaka Securities Exchange.
Well, of course, it is a pleasure to be once again able to discuss about the exciting world of Lusaka's Securities Exchange. Well, let's dive right into it, shall we?
Exactly, and it plays a role in Zambia's financial landscape, as we all know, providing companies with a platform to raise capital and offering investors the opportunity to grow their wealth.
Of course, and in yesterday's trading session, certainly we see interesting developments at the close of the market. We saw a total of 107,289 shares traded, and it still remained with a market value of 324,115.89.
Impressive.
The current market capitalization, of course, stands at 83.3 billion.
Wow, that's impressive. And these numbers actually reflect an active and vibrant market, in my opinion. So it's crucial for investors to keep an eye out for this one. So let's take a closer look at the equities.
Of course, Gloria, we had 11 equities on the Lusaka Stock Exchange, and they all participated within the trading session. And interestingly, there was one gainer on the day, and that was CEC Africa.
CEC Africa.
Yes, investments. Of course, they saw a 5% increase within their share price appreciation.
Interesting. That's interesting, and such gains can actually capture the attention of investors looking out for such opportunities. Well, on the flip side, it looks like there are no significant losers today.
And I feel like that is quite normal for the Lusaka Securities Exchange.
Exactly.
Because we might have well seen only one gainer, but of course we're seeing no loser. So I feel like everyone is a winner in this case.
I think it has always been the theme. No losers when it comes to Lusaka.
That is right. Well, a day without significant losers is uncommon within the stock market. And it is important for investors to consider that the bigger picture is not to get discouraged by short-term fluctuations. Now, talking about the most action within the stock exchange, what do you have for us, Gloria?
The most action in the stock exchange, we actually have Zambian National Commercial Bank that led the way in terms of trading volume with around 46,000 shares changing hands, and Standard Chartered Bank float closed with around 37 shares. And we also had CEC Africa Investments and Zambian Breweries that also experienced a trading day. Actually, a significant trading day. Obviously.
Well, like I always emphasize, high trading volumes often suggest that these stocks were in demand among investors yesterday, and it is essential for investors to pay attention to the most actively traded shares, as of course they may provide valuable insights into the market. And now discussing the Lusaka Stock Exchange share indices.
Interestingly, the Lusaka All Stocks indices may not experience any change as of today, closing at the same level it opened, which was around 9,000. So looking at the bigger picture, the year-to-date gain of the Lusaka All Stocks indices, it stands at a solid 27.49%.
Wow. And the Lusaka All Share Index is a crucial indicator of the overall market performance. Investors should understand that markets have daily fluctuations, but considering the long-term performance, it is equally important. As we wrap up, any final thoughts, Gloria?
It's really a pleasure discussing the Lusaka Securities Exchange, and investors should remember that the stock markets are really dynamic.
Of course.
Exactly, and with daily ups and downs, staying informed is the only way out.
It's the only way out.
So that leaves us with the Malawi Stock Exchange.
Well, moving on to the Malawi Stock Exchange, it is, of course, great to discuss the latest developments, and it is a vital part of Malawi's financial landscape, providing companies with access to capital and offering investors an opportunity to grow their wealth through these financial markets.
Exactly, and diving into these numbers at the close of yesterday's trading session on the Malawi Stock Exchange, we saw about 3 million traded shares with a market value of around 300 million. So compared with the previous trading session on the Malawi Securities Exchange, this represents a staggering 441% increase in the volume and a substantial 166% improvement in their turnover.
So where does this leave our market capitalization?
Well, this leaves our market capitalization at around 6.4 trillion.
I feel like that is quite impressive for the Malawi Stock Exchange, don't you think?
Exactly.
Well, those are some impressive figures, and it is such a significant increase within the trading volume, and we can often indicate increased investor interest and activity in the market. Now, of course, diving deeper into the way the stocks played out, we have the 8 Malawi Stock Exchange listed companies that participated in the trading session. Out of those 2, stocks were managed to end with a positive territory, and it is Ilovo Sugar and FMB Capital Holdings, which both closed with a 0% change in their share price. However, on the flip side, we had 4 stocks facing losses. And what do you have of them, Gloria?
Well, on these 4 stocks, we had FDH Bank that had a challenging day with around 1.39% price drop, closing at around 70 per share. So we had Airtel Malawi, we had NBS Bank, and we had Telecom Networks Malawi that also saw challenging movements as of yesterday.
Indeed, indeed. It is important to remember that stock markets can be quite dynamic, and understanding how individual stocks perform is very helpful to investors to make informed decisions. But now let's take a look at the stocks that saw the significant trading volumes yesterday.
As of yesterday, we had NBS Bank that recorded the highest trading volume. This was around 2.6 million traded shares, followed closely by Malawi Property Investment Company, Airtel Malawi, and also FDH Bank.
Well, those are high trading volumes, and of course they often indicate that these stocks were the center of attention for investors yesterday. Now let's shift our focus to the market indices. The benchmark of Malawi All Share Index closed at 118,432.27, showing a slight decline, of course, of 0.19%. And it is a crucial indicator of overall market performance. But while it experienced a daily loss, it is noteworthy that the year-to-date gain is an impressive 90.91%. And of course, this demonstrates the resilience within the Malawian stock market.
Absolutely, and Victor, investors should actually remember that markets really have fluctuations, as we said, but in the long-term perspective often tells a different story. So let's discuss other notable indices in the Malawi Stock Exchange.
Certainly, Gloria. Well, beyond the Malawi All Share Index, we have the Malawi Foreign Share Index. And of course, it remained unchanged, and today it boasts a remarkable year-to-date gain of 268.57%. On the other hand, we have the Malawi Domestic Share Index, which experienced a slight decline of 0.23%, with a year-to-date gain of 75.54%.
Exactly, and these are actually interesting movements, in my opinion. So we have to keep an eye out for these indicators because they give us signs in these various segments of the market. So as we wrap up our discussion concerning the Malawi Securities Exchange, any final thoughts you have for this?
Well, of course, it is clear that despite some daily fluctuations, the Malawi Stock Exchange has been making impressive gains throughout the year. And it is always a pleasure to discuss impressive and wonderful activity within the stock exchange because it is always promising. Every day the sun comes up, we see Malawi Stock Exchange keeping its pace but still heading forward. But of course, we shall keep providing all the valuable information you need to know about these stock exchanges, and we know that it will come up useful to all investors out there.
Exactly, Victor, and that wraps up our information from the Malawi Stock Exchange. Please allow us to move to the Ghana Stock Exchange and see how it went down as of the yesterday trading session.
Well, moving to the Ghana Stock Exchange, we took a closer look to the members and we took a closer look to the numbers, and at the close of yesterday's trading session on the Ghana Stock Exchange, we witnessed a total of 1,191,457 shares changing hands, with a market value of 2,517,246.05. The current market capitalization still stands at a staggering 73.8 billion.
Oh, wow, and as you all know, the Ghana Stock Exchange plays a crucial role in the Ghanaian financial landscape, providing companies with means to raise capital and offering investors an avenue to growing their own financial wealth. So these figures really indicate that the market remains vibrant and active. So it's essential for investors to keep an eye out for these ones, and let's explore the equities that were traded.
Well, of course, without wasting any more time, we want to go straight into the listed equities. And of course, this stock exchange has 15 listed equities, and of course, they all participated in the trading session. Interestingly, we had one gainer on the day, and that was EcoBank Ghana, which is not as a surprise. It saw an impressive 9.94% share price appreciation.
Well, it's good to see an equity like EcoBank Ghana performing quite well on the market. Investors should really keep an eye out for this one. So on the downside, though, we had CAL Bank and MTN Ghana that fell declines.
declines?
Yes.
So, well, of course, certainly, Gloria, going to a GCB Bank, of course, as she's talking about the losers, coming to the highest trading volume, CGP Bank comes with a staggering 580,000 traded shares. And of course, we had CAL Bank that followed closely behind with 493,347 shares changing hands. But moving to the benchmark, Gloria, what do you have on the indices?
Moving to the benchmark, concerning that, we saw that these stocks were at the center of attention as of investors yesterday, and it's really essential for them to follow this up. So moving to the benchmark, we had the Ghanaian Stock Exchange Composite Index that declined by 37.63 points, representing a 1.19% decrease and closing at 3,000 shares. So while we saw a daily loss, actually, it's interesting to note that the year-to-date still stands at around 28.29%.
Well, of course, the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is a significant indicator of the overall market performance. And investors should understand that markets can have daily fluctuations, of course, but looking at the bigger picture, we can provide valuable insights. Now, going into the Ghana Stock Exchange Financial Stock Index, any information on how that went?
Well, that index actually moved to the opposite direction as of yesterday, increasing by 1.09% to reach around 1,000 points. So this marks a one-week gain of 2.99% and a four-week gain of 10.26% and a year-to-date loss, obviously, of around 5.73%.
Well, of course, the performance of the financial stocks can be it can often influence economic factors, and economic factors can influence these behaviors as well. So investors should remember that the stock market can be dynamic with daily ups and downs. So staying informed and diversifying their portfolios, and of course considering their long-term goals is key, and it's key to success within the market.
Exactly, and it was a pleasure discussing market on the Ghanaian Stock Exchange. So allow us to cross to the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and see how it went down as of the trading day of yesterday.
Certainly. So, Gloria, what exactly is coming from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange?
From the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, well, all I can say is from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, it's quite a journey, you know, and especially considering the history of Zimbabwe. So it comes from around 2009 to 2019 share prices that were quoted in US dollars due to Zimbabwe's hyperinflation. So it's a testament to the resilience of the stock exchange actually and the country's economic recovery. So let's jump into today's trading session.
Well, certainly, Gloria. Today, a total of 3,551,100 shares were traded on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and it left us with a market value of 342,333.50. The current market capitalization still stands at 10.6 trillion.
Interesting, and these numbers are really essential indicators of the market activity and the volume of companies listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So it's fascinating to see how these are actually moving. So let's take a closer look at the equities that were at play.
Absolutely, absolutely. We had 26 listed equities and they all participated within the trading session. What is interesting is that they were both gainers and losers, of course, which makes for an intriguing market.
Wow, that's right. And among these gainers, we had Seedco that led the way with an impressive 17.75% share price appreciation, closing at around 642 per share. We had First Mutual Holdings, we had Zimmer Holdings, and CBZ Holdings that also saw significant gains as of yesterday's trade session.
Well, it is always good to see stocks performing and well rewarding investors. But now on the other side, we had some stocks that experienced price depreciation. We had Delta Corporation that had a tough day with a price decline of 10.2%. to 8%. And we had the dairy board holdings. They also saw a significant drop.
Wow, so these are market fluctuations and it's a common occurrence in a way, so it's crucial for you guys to stay informed on these ones and keep updated. So looking at the stocks that saw the most action in terms of trading volume, we have McDonald Holdings that led the way in terms of trading volume with a whopping 814,000 actually shares. We had also OK Zimbabwe and Econet Wireless Zimbabwe that also had a high trading volume as of yesterday.
Well, of course, high trading volumes often indicate that these stocks were popular among investors. And it is interesting to see how investor sentiment can drive trading activity. Now, let's discuss the performance of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange market indices.
Concerning the benchmark of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange All-Share Index, we saw a 2.93% decline, closing at around 128 points. However, we took a closer look at the bigger picture, where we had the year-to-year gain of around 560.74% points.
560.74%.
Exactly.
It's quite an impressive one for a year-to-date gain. But the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange All-Share Index is a vital indicator of overall market performance. And of course, investors should remember that markets can experience daily fluctuations, but looking at the broader trend, it is equally important. As we wrap up, any final thoughts, Gloria?
From the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange?
Of course, certainly.
All I can say is that investors have to keep an eye out for this one and keep updated at all costs, because you never know what's going to happen next on the market.
So what is your broader picture? What do you think about all the stock exchanges we have discussed today?
Well, so far all the stock exchanges are really having challenging days.
Certainly.
Compared from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, these are really having challenges.
I feel like Lusaka keeping up with the pace is the only thing encouraging, but everything else we are seeing. We're also seeing some improvement with Nigeria, and I feel like apart from those two, all the other stock exchanges need a little more patience for the next few days.
There was also a slight change when it comes to Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
Of course.
Yeah, there's a slight change, but when it comes to Uganda and Nairobi, well, we're still upcoming and we're still performing. And
I think we will get there.
Exactly, and we'll have to also talk about the crude oil prices, as it has been an interesting topic throughout the week. So let's give you the latest market updates, whereby crude oil, a major player in the global economy, took a hit, falling at around $3 a barrel to reach around $86.
$86. Any more information on the crude oil?
Exactly, and despite the efforts by Saudi Arabia and Russia to come and outcut these prices, this was until like December, macroeconomic headwinds have sparked concerns about the demand, causing around a 5% overnight drop and an 8% huge throughout the week.
Quite a contrast to the, of course, this is quite a contrast to the bullish trends we've seen earlier this year, and especially with the notable 9% surge in September, contributing to a 27% gain in the Q3.
It's absolutely by there, and now in the recent drop is raising questions about the sustainability of this upward momentum. So crude oil prices have always been hovering around $90 due to supply cuts, so to by the overall major oil producing nations.
And of course, let's not overlook the Energy Information Administration's report, which added to the bearish sentiment by revealing a significant increase of 6.5 million barrels in gasoline stocks. Of course, this is the largest build in 2 years?
Exactly, and they had a ripple effect on the gasoline prices. So tumbling to a 9-month low and plunging by 17% in just 3 weeks.
And there is more on the horizon. Russia might lift the diesel ban soon, potentially shaking up the global energy landscape. Meanwhile, the OPEC plus, or also known as the OPEC, is holding on to its existing output policy amidst a market turmoil. Exactly,
and it's a roller coaster of the year as crude oil prices are indeed
absolutely
up there. So starting at around $82 per barrel, dipping to around $70 in June, and spiking to $96 in September, and now setting at $85 in October. Well, these fluctuations reflect challenges and uncertainties.
Well, of course, that is going to show a lot of uncertainties within the global market. But, of course, it is a dynamic situation with factors ranging from supply and demand to geopolitical tensions and economic conditions. So it would be really important for you to stay tuned and not lose track of everything that is going on.
Exactly. Thank you for tuning in to Smart 24 TV. That's what we had for you today on our financial markets program. We'll be back with more. Thank you.
No data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial *292#. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed. Smart 24, driving business.